Hey guys, this is OddOneGaming. This is going to be another Dragonheir SilentGods video. In today's video, we're going to talk about the Chaos Shadow boss, the Auster one, because, well, I've already done two videos where I was talking about all the DPS that are best for these Chaos Shadows. I have already covered the best poison DPS heroes, and I've already covered the best lightning DPS heroes for the other bosses, and I've seen that quite a few of you enjoyed it, and they were really helpful. So I decided, you know what, let me do the same thing over here. So first, let me see if I can still get, if not, actually this one just reset. So I'm not sure if I can catch the boss, but basically against this one, you want to have fire damage. And for this one specifically, the best ones are going to be the wild heroes, because those are kind of like the specialist DPS heroes for fire. The thing that you want to keep in mind again for this boss is the fact that he has the battle skill that uses twice, that, you know, is going to hit your tank, and this one can hit pretty hard. But the most important thing that you need to keep in mind when you're choosing who you're using in this team is going to be his ultimate that has that diamond shape, okay? So because of this one, you prefer to usually have only one melee DPS if you can. If you have two, it's gonna be hard to, you know, keep them alive, because if you have two, well, they might require you too much healing, or I don't know, might still work. If you don't have a cleanser, it can be tricky. But as long as you have somebody that's like the main tank, such as like a Horus, for example, that soaks up the damage from the battle skills, your DPS, your melee ones at least, if you have three of them alongside Horus, will always be hit. But if you cleanse the frost, they should be fine. As long as you have the attack penalty and whatnot, you might be able to work with it, but, you know, I should advise against it. So let's have a look at the heroes. Let me see, can I still find this one? Oh, it's average. Can I still find him on the map so I can show you exactly the positioning? Okay, I cannot, but at least let me go in here and I'm going to show you the positioning that I have for my two wild teams that makes them not be hit. So first of all, let's go with wild team number one. Okay, so this is the positioning, okay? I have my tank in the soldier, I have my DPS in Tunnel Nun, then I have my healer and one DPS on this side, and then another DPS on this side. And because of the way that they are positioned, the two melee units go ahead, they fight the boss, and whenever the Auster boss hits, even though he doesn't have it exactly like average, he has like that extra, you know, the extra squares that make it the diamond shape. He will always only hit the boss, because if you look, there's no way that they can hit so it hits more than two people. So keep that in mind first of all, that's really important. Now let's go and have a look through those DPS, and let's discuss about, you know, kind of the same way I did in the previous ones, which are going to be good, which are going to be the ones you should focus on. When you look at the commons, well, there's no commons for fire, but if you look over here at the DPS, Ymira's not necessarily DPS, she's a tank. Then the first one's going to be glowing. Again, he's a support, but he can do some interesting damage, but I would not advise, because he's not part of the, what's it called? He is not part of the wild pairings, and because he does not bring a debuff either, he's not going to be as helpful. Then Zadie is going to be the same principle, more of a support, doesn't bring anything interesting that's going to help the fight. Maybe this passive, but definitely not worth to focus as a DPS. And now we get to the wild people. So the first one is Bronwyn. Bronwyn is going to be really good because, well, he is ranged, he's going to be able to be put at the back line, and he can put some pretty decent damage. Like, I have him in one of my teams and he can do it pretty well. I do have all the bonuses and whatnot, but you know, he still does 750 damage on this one, 360 on this one, and gives himself attack up. Plus on the passive, every time he has a successful wild, his basic attack is going to do more damage. So Bronwyn is one of the first one. Then the second one, which from the rares, she is the best one. I did not personally test it, but shout out to Neva from HH Gaming. He has done some testing, and from what he did during that testing, Thea came out to be one of the best ones, if not actually the best, when it comes to the rares. And it's all because of her passive. Recharges ultimate energy by 5% upon each successful wild check by allies. Okay, that's massive. This effect can trigger every 5 seconds. This is gonna mean that she's gonna keep coming back to her ultimate a lot, and that one deals pretty good damage, because it's 3 times hit of 280% attack, plus she gains attack up before she does that. So that's going to be massive damage. And then on the battle skill, It's just a simple 350 attack. So, you know, this one can be really, really good, and the wild check can always proc on her ultimate. The only downside, I guess, a little bit is because she's melee. But if she's the only one that's melee alongside the boss, you could be fine, and Thea can dish out some crazy damage. Then the next one is going to be Olivia. She's a tank. The next one's Neda. She's kind of the same as Bronwyn, because on her ultimate, she deals 800% attack. That's a massive damage hit. Then on the battle skill, 350% attack, plus this one also has a chance to proc wild, whereas you saw Thea, she does not have a chance to proc it on the battle skill. And then on the passive, increases her wild success rate to 60%, so basically double, which means there's a high chance that all of her attacks get the wild and do 120% more damage. So, you know, that can be crazy. And she has an aura, but unfortunately this one does not work in that, only in dungeons. Now let's move over to the epics. So when it comes to the epics, Liko is just like an attack penalty one. I would not necessarily bring her in a team. It's like she just has actually wait, she doesn't even have attack penalty, never mind. Liko doesn't have a spot. Adolphus is a support. Isolde counts as a tank, but we're not talking about that. Then we have Caraman. I mean, honestly, from the testing that I have done with him, maybe I did not test enough, but he seemed kind of underwhelming. Like, he does have 750 attack on the ultimate with a chance to ignore defense. He is melee as well, so he's going to be quirky, going at the back and whatnot. Then on the battle skill, as it says, flashes behind, dealing 420% attack. And, well, it's not going to reset because he's not going to kill anybody. Then on the passive, gains attack up and attack speed up for 5 seconds upon the hero if he successfully performs a wild. So this one can help his damage. Maybe I should give him another chance, but I feel like he's a bit underwhelming compared to some other ones, especially because he, you know, you're going to need scrolls, and epic scrolls are a little bit harder to get than the rare ones. And then the aura is for a different one. Now we're talking about Tunnel Nun. Okay, so Tunnel Nun is the best single target DPS epic in the game, hands down, because she is just insane. The thing that she provides, the damage that she provides is mind-blowing. She can even out-damage some legendaries if built well. So first of all, let's start with her passive. The hero gains an extra 20% crit rate. So straight up, she starts with 38% crit rate. That makes it so much easier to bring her to 100% crit rate and then just focus crit damage and attack. But then she also has another part of the passive that makes her crazy. Each successful wild by allies grants 5% crit damage to the hero. This effect stacks up to 20 times, okay? This one does not reset. It just keeps stacking, and when it hits 20, you basically have 100% more crit damage. That's insane. Then she has a triple hit on the battle skill that can proc wild. The higher the number difference between the buffs on the hero and the target, the higher the damage. So the more buffs you have on Tunnel Nun, the more damage she will do. And again, it's a triple hit, and then on the ultimate, 5 hits. So she's a good candidate for the Gambler set. That's arguably the best one when you want to do a ton of hits. But on the ultimate, again, kind of like Thea, she gains attack up, like Tunnel, it's a she. Like, in case people are wondering, they're a she. When they're like skinnier lizards, it's she, okay? So she gains attack up and then does 5 hits multiplied by 160. And with that attack up, it's going to do some insane damage. So Tunnel Nun, the best epic when it comes to damage. Now, the next one is going to be Refi, which is a little bit of a quirky one, but she's really amazing because, first of all, she brings increased crit damage in all battles by 24%. On the passive, each successful wild check by allies increases the damage of this hero's next basic attack by 60% and makes it wild. So it's going to gain the 60% bonus plus the 120 that is gained by the wild check itself. And then on the battle skill, for 7 seconds after casting, the number of orbs shot by the hero's basic attack is modified to 2. So basically another good candidate for Gambler because she's going to do lots of, multi-hits on that one. Plus on the ultimate, she can proc a ton of hits as she does 420% attack as fire damage. Upon successful wild check, the hero cast this skill again on a random enemy. It can be cast up to 3 times in a row. So that's going to be a ton of damage. Plus the wild, because, if it procs wild, it does more damage. She can dish out some crazy damage as well. So Foley, definitely or Refi, whatever she's called now. Like the Fire Refi, I guess, she used to be called Foley. Definitely another one you want to keep in mind. Now, Alfie is not necessarily a good DPS himself because he just does damage on the battle skill. But then he has this passive that gives him more attack and the auras for dungeons. But what he's good is basically he's good at enabling wild people, because he summons a Nexus that lasts for 15 seconds. If you fully scroll him, that's on a 16 seconds complete recharge. So basically, if you give him a bit of skill haste, you should have it up all the time. And in that designated area, increases the successful rate of wild check by allies within the Nexus by 50%. So normally, the wild check is 30%. If you had a 50, basically that's an 80% check. That's massive, and I can boost everybody else's damage to do some crazy numbers, even though, like I said, himself, he's not going to do that much damage. Dane is kind of like meh. I don't like Dane, honestly. I just don't like him because he brings small version of attack penalty, then some debuffs here that are not reliable enough. I would not recommend him for the Chaos Shadows. He might be good for Goblin and other stuff, but not here. And then that's about it from the epics. And now when it comes to legendaries, well, for the legendaries, there's going to be a few of them. First one's Casper. I almost said Capper. Shout out my Capper. But Casper, he has a quirky ultimate. He deals 700% attack to the enemy, and then for the next 15 seconds, throws 3 daggers at the enemy every time your ally successfully proc a wild. So he can do this a ton of times and do a ton of damage. Basically, how you would try to have it is he does his ultimate, and then everybody else does their ultimates that, hopefully proc wilds, and he can do some crazy damage. On the battle skill, again, throws 5 daggers at the enemy, dealing 75% attack. The skill ignores the target's defense for every stack of Absurd Charade. That's obviously going to come on his passive. And again, because he has so many hits, he's going to be an amazing candidate for Gambler set as well, because that one just procs more true damage. But then the passive gains 1 stack of Absurd Charade upon an ally successful wild check for 20 seconds. Right, successful check for 20 seconds. Absurd Charade cannot be dispelled and is capped at 13 stacks. Each stack of Absurd Charade has a separate duration and cannot be reset. So basically, if you get to the maximum, this one's going to bring you to a 13% ignore defense on the battle skill, which can be awesome, but it also increases the damage dealt by 13% by himself. So if you get 10 stack, that's 130% more damage. That's insane. And then he also brings an amazing aura, increases ally attack by 30% in all battles. So Casper, 100% worth it. Keep in mind, he's obviously ranged as well. Then the next one, Jorn, is a bit of a quirky one. He brings some attack penalty on the battle skill and some interesting damage, but he damages himself too much, so he's not really good for these fights because you want to keep your healer focused on the tank and the melee unit. Then the next one's going to be Rash, another one of those amazing wild heroes that has a power, shoots an arrow that deals 800% attack. If the hero has Heartfire when casting the skill damage is increased by 30%, so obviously it's going to be a ton of damage, and the hero's ultimate energy is recharged by 20%. Whenever you have heroes that have ultimate energy recharged when something happens, that's amazing because that means he's just going to keep coming back to this ultimate more often and he can do some crazy damage. Then on the battle skill, shoots an arrow at the enemy, dealing 300% attack. The damage then spreads, dealing 300% to the enemies within range. This one's just going to be a simple 300% attack because it's single target, But then on the battle skill, the passive, the hero gains Heartfire for 4 seconds upon any ally's wild check. This effect is kept at 10 stacks, and only 1 stack of Heartfire will be removed after the duration is over. The hero's wild check automatically succeeds, and his ultimate skill has extra effects when he has Heartfire. Like we saw, he gains more damage and more recharge time. So basically, you would want some other allies going before him, kind of different way than Casper. Casper, you want him to go first, then everybody else. For him, you want your allies to go first so that the Heartfire procs, and then he goes, does more damage, and has a chance to recharge that ultimate energy. And Rash can put out again some crazy numbers. Then the next one over here is going to be, I guess, a little bit about Huldork. Again, he's not that good for this. He brings some weird stuff. Again, some attack penalty on the battle skill, but his kit does not have enough to be worth it to bring him in the fight. To rather just keep pairing wild people. Like I said, wild is the best thing in here. And since we're talking about wild, let's talk about Felicity. She's one of the legendaries that you can get from the Horn. That's how I got mine. Like yesterday or the day before, I just got lucky, got a 20, and I got her from the Horn. And she can do some crazy damage, okay? She unleashes a flame laser that deals 370% attack to the enemy 3 times. So that's going to be a massive burst of damage. Like, I've seen this one-shot tanks in arenas, okay? Felicity is amazing. On the battle skill, again, deals damage 300% of attack to the enemy if the wild check success rate of the skill is increased by 50%, and casts again upon successful wild check up to 3 times. So again, this one can do up to 900% attack if you're lucky, plus the bonus from the wild check. Which means that because she can have triple hit here, triple hit on the ultimate, again, good candidate for a gambler set. When it comes to Rash, for example, and Casper is still good for gambler, but the one that I showed before Rash, he would be good maybe more in something like Platinum Knight or Executioner. Like, I haven't tested personally, but one of those two ones that just straight up boost his single target damage. Another quirky thing that Felicity has that's awesome is when a basic attack or battle skill triggers a critical hit, so from her, recharges the hero's ultimate energy by 5%. So again, kind of same way as Rash. That means she's going to come back to that ultimate more often, so she's going to do more damage. And she also brings an increase crit damage by 30% in all battles. So Felicity definitely worth to build. Now, which we have 2 more. We're going to talk about Erich. I'm going to leave Flora for last. Erich is amazing because straight up he's free, okay? He's on the free legendaries and he can do a ton of damage. On the ultimate, he brings a 5-hitter, okay? 5 times 150%, which means that he's going to be amazing for Gambler again, because 5 hits over here. Then on the battle skill, he does 300% damage to enemies in the area, but if it's a single target, which is the case against, you know, the Auster boss, the Chaos Shadow, this one's going to do 50% more damage, so that's amazing. But the best part about him is, again, this passive. Increases the hero's wild success rate by 5% every time an ally performs a successful wild check, up to 14%. So what does this mean? That means that after 14 wild checks, he should always proc wild because it increases it by 70% plus the 3 of the basic, that's 100%. So he should, after those 14 wild checks, he should always have it. When the hero performs a successful wild check, the hero's skills additional deal 70% attack damage. So apart from the 120 bonus from the wild check, he deals another 70%. I hear some people saying like, oh, Erich is not good, Erich sucks and whatnot. Honestly, I don't know why. He's really good. I'm using him and he's almost on par with Tononon, who's like amazing best single target DPS. So, you know, if people tell you Erich is not good, just don't listen to them. He's good. And especially, you know, he's even better because he's free. You know, everybody can get him because he's free. And now we're going to talk about the creme de la creme, the best of the best, and arguably the best single target DPS in the whole game because of what she can do, and that is Flora. So Flora is a beast. She's a monster. And if you have her, you basically won the game, kind of. So what Flora brings is, first of all, increase ally attack by 30% in all battles. Straight up, more damage for everybody. That's massive. Then we're going to go to the passive first. Every time an ally launches a successful wild, the familiar unleashes a fireball at the ally's current target, dealing 120% fire damage, okay? So every time somebody does wild, she's like, boom, attack, boom, attack. So this one can keep doing a ton of damage, and it can be boosted. Then on the battle skill, the familiar unleashes 2 fireballs at the enemy, dealing 200% fire attack damage, okay? You're looking like, okay, what's the whole deal? Doesn't seem insane. Wait for it. It's all about the ultimate. So, deals 600% attack damage to the enemy, creating a fire vortex around the target for 10 seconds. 600% attack, that doesn't sound like too much. It's gonna come right now. So, as the vortex lasts, the target takes additionally 170% derivative fire damage from wild. So basically, every time somebody proxy wild, after she puts up the ultimate, you're gonna keep getting that damage proc because of this one, first of all, and at the same time, the passive. So she can do some insanely crazy numbers, but she's gonna have a quirky build. Because of this one, you're gonna want her build not with crit rate and crit damage, which is the case for most rally people, because they're gonna do lots of burst smash damage. But because she does derivative fire damage, this one cannot crit, you're gonna want to build her with as much enlightenment and attack as you can. That's about it. Enlightenment and attack. And trust me, you're going to see some insane numbers from Flora. Also, she does have an exclusive artifact. So if you're lucky enough to pull 2 copies of her, okay, and you also get like another legendary because you need a copy of her and another dupe legendary, you can get this artifact that just makes her insane. When an ally initiates a wild check, either result will trigger Flora's Pact Servant effect, when the additional damage from Pillar of Secret Flame is triggered, this particular additional damage from Pillar of Secret Flame will gain more damage bonus, okay, up to 20 stacks. That's just mind-blowing. This one basically obliterates Guild Boss. Like, if you look at Vortex damages in the game, you're gonna see that all the top people that have, you know, the craziest damage all have Flora, okay? It's all about her. She's just crazy. But anyway, I guess we're gonna leave it at this. This is gonna be it for the video today, guys. I hope this helps you. I hope this gives you an idea and, you know, makes you realize what you need to focus on and what not to focus on when it comes to the Chaos Shadow bosses or like continental challenges, depending where you are in the game. And hopefully I've saved you from investing in the wrong ones, okay? But anyway, this is gonna be it for the video today, guys. As always, if you do enjoy my content, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel to see when I upload next, and I'm gonna see you on the next one. Peace, love, take care, everyone. Bye, guys.